Hello mga higala, kumusta? Welcome to the newly refurbished, relaunched, and nindot na yung kaayo ang atong Milo 101. And I have a new partner. It's Attorney Jessica Nathan. Hello there.
Hi, Attorney Bingo. Hi, everyone. I'm very excited and it's my pleasure to be here with you to co-host my Law 101.
Yes. And because we are kuan, kanang new na magyutang nga Milo 101, we have also a guest this afternoon kinaamasantay kanang discussion. So it's a really new look, but later on you will see what it looks like.
We're back. You're watching My Law 101, and for today's episode, we have a guest. Kasambagan Barangay Captain. He is also the Liga ng mga Barangay Cebu City Chapter President. He is the ex-official member of the Cebu City Council. Ug gwapo sad kaayo ang atong guest karon. Yes. Please help me welcome the President of the Liga ng mga Barangay sa Cebu City, Honorable Franklyn Ong.
Hello.
Hello, hi.
May hapon, may
Maayong
buntag,
hapon, Kap.
Good day.
Maayong adlaw.
Yes. Ay, so Scap, I would like to tell our viewers mga, the reason why we're doing this episode is because we really have to go back. Balik ta sa barangay, which is our basic kanang local government, no? And especially, Kap, dako man jud kaayo og role ang barangay karon, no? Nga naatay COVID ba? How is it like? What was that kanang BHERT? Unsa ba BHERT? I can be heard. Unsa ba jud buot ipasabot?
Well, anyway, thank you for asking that, Attorney Bingo, Attorney Jess. Actually, we were very elated and very happy and humbled actually that the President Duterte recognized the very important role and responsibilities of the barangays, by asking the DILG to create a memorandum under I think 2020-18, which was created last February of 2020.
Yes.
The creation of BHERT, which is a Barangay Health Emergency and Response Team. The BHERT is actually created because of the pandemic. The BHERT is composed of 5 members, has to be created by the punong barangay on each of the barangay. Every 5,000 population have to have one BHERT, and the composition of the BHERT is you should have 1 executive director, you have 2 barangay health workers, and then you have 1 midwife or nurse, and then you have 1 tanod.
Okay. So, ang ako ani Cap ba, because this puts so much weight on and kanang
Pressure.
and the onus of the duty of the barangays kay mura bag sometimes atong una we think of the barangay, it's just the barangay,
Yes.
wa mag yun tagaing ana nga importansya ba. Muna akong point ana, but this time it is so important. Murag pertigyong grabeha ka importante ang role sa barangay karon, especially that we are in a situation whereby kinahanglan ang barangay mo kontrolar sa mga tao nga dili magawas, kandi magpabuyag. So I heard that there are also kanang buluyagon sa yung mga tao in the barangays. How do you control that?
That's normal siya, Attorney Bingo, ang barangay, it was created during the time of President Marcos. You should remember during those time nga dugay na kaayo versus now, dako na kyo na evolve ang barangay.
Yes,
Actually, barangay is one of the most basic government na siya, agency sa tanan nga lugar. But the barangay is the most what you call, di ko masultig powerful pero makasulti lang ko kanang, to make it this way, it's only the barangay that have 3 branches of government. You have the executive, you have the judiciary, is matong mga lupon, mga tanod, then we have legislative. You cannot find that in any branches sa
That's right.
government.
Departments,
No?
oo.
Our
Yes,
city,
that's right.
our town, you have the mayor, executive, you have the city council, Gundian as
But you don't
legislative.
have,
You don't have
Judiciary.
judiciary is different. But in the barangay level, we have the three branches. So
that's
very
right.
important. So muna, tinuod na imong sulti kana mga badlungon, mga tanan, sumusod ang among ang barangay. So among judiciary kung na mga mag-away, mga silingan. That's why ang atong naatay mga katarungan pang barangay nga even before ang usa ka kaso basta personal individual versus individual before maabot sa korte, moagi gyud sa katarungan pang barangay para for the barangay to hopefully to do mediation and conciliation. Kung di gyud mada, then that's why we issue the CFA. So mo ginasud ako ging role ana.
So, powerful jud kayo ang barangay cap, in a way.
Sa kaugalingong barangay. but
right, yeah.
we have to
Kaya ikaw man ang
understand.
in touch jud sa mga tao.
Yes, we have to understand in any cities or in any municipalities, they are composed of barangay. Kung walay barangay, wa magi syudad sad, wa say lungsod, no.
Yeah, the nice thing about kanabitang inyong judiciary, quote and quote, is that it is supportive of the Supreme Court, at least the judicial system, mga pangita yung tagpaagi in order to reconcile and settle instead of going to court. Nga, so mangita yung tagpaagi ngayon. But anyway, I want to go back to the pandemic, Cap. Recently, I mean, at least during the time when you were when the BHERT was created, the need for the barangay was really like great, no? Ni kuanjud mo, you really went through people, because I know that because people in my barangay came to me sila na inspection sa Manmodiha, etc. And talked and I was really kanang amazed at how they did. Although I was scared, no, kay magpalayo ko ninyo. Ay mapadol na ako like that. But they came to me, and then ni-ease up man gud ang situation. So you can maybe feel that maybe dako sa ginogrol ang barangay to ease ni jutay ang mga cases, ni jutay ang mga arang-arang ta. But recently, murag daghan naman sa balik, Kap. How do you, unsa man im, Kap? How does the barangay feel about this?
I think, well, that's very true. First, regarding the participation of the barangay, Attorney Bingo. In fact, even Secretary Simato, on his, when he was very happy that we were able to bring down the COVID cases in Cebu City last year, na he, maingon gyud siya nga one of the very basic, very important role because of the barangay captains. Because we really work together. All the barangay captains, we really work together with the EOC, which are Emergency Operations Center, which was headed by our head implementer, nga si General Mel Feliciano, and of course, ato deputy implementer si Honorable Joel Garganera, and then ang ato sang Liga ng Barangay ABC, we send our team staff to help. So you can imagine we work closely, we coordinated closely with the EOC. Because going back to BHERT, Attorney Bingo, Attorney Jess, one of the important function of BHERT, aside from doing the IEC, the Information Education Campaign, is kami monitor. Monitor kung naay mga bot, naabay ni sakit, and then we also monitor the Barangay Isolation Center, and then we also do contact tracing. So once there is positive nga kanang sa una PUI, because we call them PUM, then we call them PUI. Person under monitoring, person under...
So many euphemisms.
So dako ginang role ang BHERT because we have to be there and do that. Even checkpoints, no, kanang mga atong mga sitio nga mga lockdown nga gipang checkpoint sa una, dako kinang role nga even the barangay have to activate all their BPATs, kanang barangay peace auxiliary team, no, nga nagbantay gina siya dinha para matanaw ilang mga quarantine pass, di siya makagawas, dili makagawas. And you can imagine April, May, I think July, August, you can imagine how quiet Cebu City was.
Oh,
no?
yes. Oh,
grabe
it's
gyud
so
kayo.
nice.
So, yes. So, there's so many things I could tell you what the barangay captains have been doing for the past 8 to 9 months, no, aside from the COVID and also, of course, the SAP. The SAP also is a very important role gihimo sa barangay kanang atong
And which has received so
social
much flack.
narration, yes, and then daghan kitag problema, and then of course we understand that sometimes the people, they tend to point finger at the barangays for not choosing them because it was really a DSWD program, no? And then of course the DSWD was really the one who will approve and assess and evaluate the people. And even the payout until now, sipag payout ang DSWD. Okay, wag gyud mahuman gihapon. You can imagine it's already 2021, but still wala gihapon makapoy ang DSWD, so they still paying out some SAP.
No. So Kap, since niingon naman ganina si Attorney Bingo no nga murag dibalik na sad karon og saka. In fact, there's a new strain na pud ko no. So pwede ko mangutana sa BHERT, let's say for the people to know kung unsa gyud ang process ba, what the barangay should do when there's like a positive or a suspected case. Unsa ang una according to the memo?
So, yeah, going there, not after, kana good aside from the SAP, we have the LSI, Travel
Locally
Authority.
stranded individuals.
Okay.
Daghan
Alright,
kay mga
That plays a very
abbreviations.
important role, you know, because ang barangay, mo check, before ka mo larga, mo check ang barangay with the city health, ato sa EOC, kung na-positive ba ka, na ba kay symptoms, wala, para
Mularga ka.
So
Where?
before sila
Outside?
mularga,
Mularga where?
Mularga.
anywhere,
Anywhere.
outside your
Gihimo maguna siya locally stranded individual katong pag May, June. June ing ana kay daghan na kay gusto mo uli para what you call that, dili ni kay daghang crowded ang Cebu City ba. And because we
Sa
were in
ilang
lockdown, a lot
probinsya.
of people, ang mga transient ganahan mo uli sa probinsya o uli
correct,
sa ilang lugar.
Yeah.
So gihimo na sa DILG nga gi-create ng with IATF nga naatay LSI Travel Authority.
Oh, so,
Okay.
so that's travel outside of Cebu.
Outside,
Yes.
oo.
Okay.
But there are also, you can imagine that the other localities are also doing that
Yes.
for people coming back to Cebu City.
okay.
So daghan, not only for sending them, going home, naasay manguli sa Cebu City.
I understand that because ang akong helper went home and she's from Negros.
Yes.
Okay. She had to apply sa iyang barangay dire and she had to apply for sa iyang barangay dito sa Ilaha. So she had to get clearance there. O sa
Yes.
clearance akong barangay pero pag abot niya gingnan siya kamularga kag mo ni nga pitsa tawagan na po siya kadili sunod na lang sa kangamukuan. Ingana na siya.
We are very strict with sa Cebu City, Attorney Bingo.
Oh.
But unfortunately, during the holidays, because the
Oh, yeah.
borders, you know, Cebu City and the entire province of Cebu is very peculiar. Lahi ba, daghang kitang syudad.
Oh.
So Cebu City have its own set of rules for the SI to go out or come in. But within the area of the province of Cebu, we have no borders already. So murag na-open bigyan na to.
Oo.
By December, mo to daghang muli probinsya. Yeah, you can imagine how many ports ang Cebu. Dili lang Cebu City.
Correct.
You have Danao, you have Bato, you have everywhere na daghang pantalan. So you
There's
know,
even Cordoba.
So expect you kapag December, daghan kayo mga uli sa probinsya. So unfortunately, expected sila nato gamay gid nga mosaka gid atong COVID cases. Mo na nahitabo karon. So nisaka.
So ato na i-discuss mga higala no because this is something that we really need to tackle ug unsaon ni natong prevent in the future ug na sa ingana ang mga holidays na sa ingana ang mga sitwasyon. We will see what the barangays can do right after this. Alam mo, taas ba yung COVID ron? So, Kap, what will we do? Taas na ba yun ang mga cases? And then, you know, we might get drastic mga kay Kap. Like, you know, in certain areas, murag, you know, from 5 cases to 30 cases. Murag, ingana ba? So what do you do when you're like that? Na ay conflicting kanang bitang the children can go out, the children cannot
Yes,
go out.
conflicting directives, no? Oo.
And relatives, and then ang mga habal-habal. You know, I'm so afraid to ride a taxi because, you know, if we ride a taxi, nag-spray ba na sila o kuan after every... How do you monitor that, Kap?
Nisaka atong case karon, but I could say because I had a meeting, we had a meeting yesterday, Zoom meeting with Secretary Simato, General Mel Feliciano, Joel Garganera, and Mike Rama, tanan with all the barangay captains, and then you know we even Secretary Simato is very confident that we can contain this. This is just the after effect of the holiday season, and because Cebu City has been constantly and diligently doing contact tracing. So if you do really contact tracing, makita gina nimo. And sometimes most of the numbers nga mosaka attorney sa balay usa ka buk affected,
Oh,
lima.
yeah. The whole house.
So we are more particular if it is spread out nga or if it's one household. Like if one household na 5-6 ibotang, we contain them.
Yeah, we
So
contain
actually EOC right now is containing everything. So actually if you look at the report, even our critical use sa atong hospital, mga isolation center, wa pa gyud na mapuno kayo. So we are still under control. So we are very positive nga di magdugay mo, balik yun na to ni control. Pero if you're going to ask me what to do, life has to go on for all of us. Ang amo lang yun, kami mga barangay, amo lang yung gusto ihangyo sa mga katawhan at mga kitatanan.
Unsay mo isulti nila?
Life has to go on, but we just have to practice the safety protocol. We really have to wear masks, we have to observe social distancing, and we have to wash our hands.
And what do you have to
Importante.
say to those people nga, say, dili gyud bitaw mo patuo sa atong mga barangay officials, police ra gyud ang pangitaon.
Kana medyo tinuod gina nga, that's why very important gyud nga lately nga nagig police and barangay coordination meeting gyud ang EOC, because we're asking the assistance of the police to help us, no, to police kana mga tao ano tanan, because wa gyud siguro ang barangay wa gyud kanang kuwang sa pagsigig pamadlong, pero kabaw gyud ka cat and mouse.
Yeah.
Abot ni mo dito na mo report, we go there, we tell them to wear mask or don't play like that, and we go out, they come back.
Sakto gyud.
You can imagine how big Cebu City is in the barangay and how many people we only have. So we need the help also of mga the parents, o galingon sa mga panimalay nga within your area. If you can really tell your children to practice social distancing and wear
kanang
mask.
mga pobre in taong kaayo, kap nga kanang wa gyud tay ka-afford nga ikapalit og face mask, wala ika-afford to buy usa na kanang shield. Or really just have to maningkamot o pangita og kwarta or mangita og pagkaon.
Kana tinuod.
Do or die.
Oh, do or die naman lang
Tinuod
yun
sa
ka.
ginanaing ana ba. We have been, the barangays have been giving, of course we cannot give everyone all the time,
Yes.
but we have given them face masks, surgical face masks. We are still continuing. In fact, my barangay, we are still continuing giving some surgical face. But of course, we cannot provide it every day, daily, you know, the number of people that you have. So,
Yeah, it's so
so at least they have just to understand the risk of getting sick with COVID. And then they can
Dili
have to
lang
do
muna sa washing of the hands cap because they don't even have water to wash their hands. I mean,
Naagi
you know,
mga area.
those are the realities ba? And these and even kanang street children,
Even
for
alcohol,
example.
di gani
al-
kapalit
gani
ang
kapalit
alcohol.
And yeah, kanang they're in the streets, and many people are in the streets begging. And yeah, they, you know, I don't even know if the mask they're wearing is clean or you
Or
understand.
pinunitan
Oh,
naman.
di ba?
Pero-
Unya mo na.
But you know, talking about mga street children, mga homeless, you know, I'm very happy to inform you that one of our barangay captains, especially in Barangay San Nicolas proper, si Kapitan Clifford Ninyal, no, for the longest time siya sigig capture sa mga homeless.
Hipos.
So kami tanan sa mga kapitana mo kung naami extra motabang gid mi, motabang mi niya kay one time naghana siya homeless gud nga
Asa man ibutang
busintos
ka?
sa gym.
Sa gym.
Unya, iya ginagihapsay tanan, iyang gibutangan niya TV ini gabi para malingaw ang mga tao. And then we go there. A lot of people went there to help. So
okay,
makita
that's
ko
really
naagi mga barangay gyud na initiative.
Initiative.
Yes.
Oh,
Initiative lang
and
yun.
that can also call the community to help.
To help.
Yes,
The whole,
tinuod yun,
no,
yeah.
nga maka-encourage sa community
This
to
is
help.
the time, girl, we have to help each other. If
Yes.
we only rely on our government and the barangay also, kuha gyud kanang makabsan sad.
And of course, this is also protecting ourselves.
Yes,
Yes,
correct.
dili
Oo.
lang nga mahadlok tag pulis.
Correct,
Oh.
correct. Oh. Kap, have there been abuses by barangay officials or those in power who like the feel of the power over the people and tend to be not so polite, kanang murag small-timon ang mga tao, like that. Murag pagin ako kiritahan ka. Kanang
Now
murag
say
kag-
reports.
kanang mutang murag ikaw na lang chika mao as in, you know, and they're not nice and they're not polite. Mo
I cannot speak for everyone, but of course, na siguro yung uban ingon ana attorney, but you know, the people have the right to choose their punong barangay. So if they feel that their punong barangay is not performing or is not doing correctly, when the time comes, they can always choose
maningil.
the right.
In the meantime,
In the meantime.
ang inyong mga tao,
So far, we try to talk to them and then di man kay ingon ana, but you know we receive reports like dili fair mo hatag ayuda, mga sometimes it's always normal.
I'm talking about katubitong na ni show sa Manila nga they were clearing the mga vendors etc. and then kulata og mga ayo ning you know the guy.
Mga vendors,
despite the fact nga naay cameras na gipakita sa camera, you know, they were continuing. I felt that was such an utter kanang kuan ba drunkenness of power that was siguro feeling nila nga it's okay to do this because you know we're in the right, you know, mga things like that.
I would say it's an isolated case, and I would say it should not represent the whole barangay, punong barangay and barangay council. And I uban nga na, but it do not represent the whole. Yeah.
Wala pa yung nakiha anak Kap.
Sa uban nga lugar. Sa ato diri so far wala kita nakita ingon ana sa atong Cebu City.
Sa Cebu City.
If that happens, unsa mailang relief?
For who?
For you know, for the person who is being abused.
One, you have the in the Saguriang Panglungsod of Cebu City, we have the what you call the City Ordinance 1510, where anybody can file a complaint against administrative complaint against an elective officials of the barangay. So they just have to submit a verified complaint to the Saguriang Panglungsod, and then the elected officials nga respondent will have the right to submit his verified answer. After that, it will be submitted back to the Saguriang Panglungsod, and then it will be referred to the Committee of Barangay Affairs, which I am the chairman.
Okay.
So with that one, I will do a mediation to call the complainant and the elected officials nga respondent, and then try to patch up kung what can we do. If it will not be resolved, then it will be given to the Saguriang Panglungsod, and there will be a committee of 3 who will decide on the
If
administrative
I may add sa Attorney Bingo, sa province, there's a province ordinance na it's also penalizing the administrative charges to kaning mga
elected
government officials nga mo-abuse sa ilahang power over this.
Pero he was talking about elective. What about the non-elective, like barangay tanod, barangay health worker?
Barangay level na siya, Attorney Bingo. So
okay.
they will make a complaint to the barangay captains. The barangay captain will handle that. Yeah.
Okay. So in the meantime, Kap, how do you feel? Can you unsa ba imong message for your people ba in this whole thing? How can we urge them to behave, you know?
Which one?
Mostly barangay captains, no? Or barangay officials.
Behave man sila tanan Attorney Bingo.
I know, but when I say to the people ba? The people that are your constituents.
Well, I ask is they should support their barangay officials and barangay halls. You know.
And if there are abuses, report.
Yeah, they can always
the
report.
barangay.
If there's abuses from the elected barangay. And I think most of the barangay officials are doing really their job right now, especially kanina hitabo nga pandemic.
In fairness.
After all of this, they will come out a better leader.
Yes.
For me.
That's really great.
It's very important. Yeah.
Yes. And I think the people are also kay bitang more ang influence ba sa barangay is I think now felt by people, and
Yes.
because
I agree.
No?
I agree. Before, daghan kayo mga di mapakabana sa barangay.
Mulahos ni Mayor.
Grabe na kayo. Karon,
Grabe, no?
they're very proactive, and then especially with all the barangays have their own Facebook page. So, tanan constituent na mga questions or mga inquiry, mo diretso gina sila sa
Barangays
kuwan.
na. They know where to
maayo na
go.
kayo. So, actually, that's one of the good things yun nahitabo nga. In the silver lining, in every crisis opportunity, that's one of the silver lining that we have. Yeah.
And that's a really good example of kanang cooperation in order to let us go beyond all of this.
Yes.
Makasurvive man lang ta kay I remember biya nga na a long time ago there was a party held by kuan because they survived, di ba, at that time nahuman ang pandemic, ease up ang mga June or something, and then there was a party because they were ang theme kay Survivor, were the survivors, and then they all got COVID and died. How bad! Yeah, so bad. So Kap, I'm so happy that you were with us today. Kunya, hopefully makatawag na sa minimum usab kay kamo biya yung tayo frontliner ni aning mga
Mura ni Papa gyud sa
Father Ghost.
Well, thank you for inviting me also.
Thank you, Kap.
And mga gala, I also hope that you realize nga kitang tanan, we really need to be working together. Kunya ang atong mga official di masan sila kaayo kuan ba kana abusado wa naman kaayo ng ingana nga murag dito somewhere else na. But here there is a good cooperation between government and the
Private
people.
sector,
So no. So I hope that everything will be fine and we will be able to get over this
Yes.
crisis. Unya, mahigala after this, mubalik ta, naatay lain nga guest, nga forwarding na pod ani no because ang bossing aning mga local government ang DILG. Mubalik kami human lamang niini. Okay, mga atong na hisgutan kaganina mo to ang atong local government no ang basic local government unit which is the barangay. And of course, ang katong powers sa barangay karon especially nga sila gitahasan sa pag-implement ni aning mga protocols in order for us to survive this COVID pandemic. So, ang head anang mga local governments morning DILG. So, morning DILG atong pangutan-on ron ug unsa gyud ang ilang control ug unsa gyud ang ilahang role to monitor the local government units. Attorney Jessica.
Yes, og natay duha ka guest karon
Yes.
from the Department of Interior and Local Government Region 7. No, ang first guest nato is the Development Management Officer of the Local Government Monitoring and Evaluation Division, si Attorney Jerlyn May Saison. Maayong adlaw, Attorney
Adlaw.
Saison.
Adlaw.
And also we also have the Regional Information Officer, Michael Vincent Braga. Maayong adlaw ninyong duha. Okay. O kaganina, we interviewed ABC President Honorable Franklyn Ong and we discussed about the BHERT. BHERT. Maramag kuya, BHERT. Unsa man yun ning BHERT?
Kuan lang siya is that Barangay Health Emergency Response Team. So since ang barangay man ang ato ang gitahasan nga dako kaayo ang role sa pag prevent sa spread sa COVID, ang BHERT kay since pinakaduol man sa barangay, sa constituents, ang barangay tanod ug ang local health worker, ang barangay health worker, sila ang mo-monitor sa kay naa naman sila idea unsa about ang kanang health protocols, if kanang naay kanang mga hilanat-hilanat, or kung naabay na sakit, or unsa bay mga nahitabo, kay ang kana man sa pong BHERT, kung sa ubang barangay ana mura man na siya og kanang dili ra na usa sa usa ka barangay. Ang BHERT manggod is 1 for every 5,000 nga population.
So pwede na ay duha or tulo ka BHERT.
Yeah, kay ang kuan sad nato is daghan man ta og barangay tanod, daghan man pod ta og dili ra man pod usa ang ato ang barangay health worker. So ang barangay kapitan or ang barangay officials itself na slide discretion kung pwede sila mo create more than one BHERT para in town maka-respond sila og tarong sa ilahang mga community. Kay dili biya sa parihasa gisulti pod ni kanang kapitan o nga kanang ang mga dili ra makaya nila tanan na kinahanglan ta nga kanang tagsa-tagsaon nimog adto ang mga kaning lugar like mga sitio daghan ba ya og sitio so pwede nimo kuan depende nila kung unsaon nila pag mobilize ang ilahang mga tao, ilahang barangay health worker and ang ilahang barangay tanod para ma-inform gyud og tarong ang mga tao ug ma-monitor nila ang kung unsa may kahimtang or sitwasyon sa mga tao dito sa ilang barangay.
In the DILG, unsa man gyud inyong basic role ba like how do you monitor these barangays themselves
Performance.
and their performance and especially now nga the cases are rising and there are certain barangays like before this sort of second surge ba before the December thing we had reports of barangays nga murag permi yung taas kaayo like for example Barangay Luz was always on lockdown for the longest time nga murag kuan kay ba then they would escape so unsa man gyud role sa DILG in order to help the barangay captains monitor all of that.
Yes, ma'am. We have established mechanisms in monitoring the barangays. One of which we have close coordination with our field offices who are monitoring this sa grassroots level nato because they are the ones who are familiar with the area. So
What is the field office naa in each barangay? Naa kay DILG in each barangay?
it's in every municipality po.
The LGOO.
okay.
Oo.
Yes, mga MLGO na to
Ah,
sa
okay.
city LGO. So they are closely coordinating with the barangays, the reporting mechanism, no, which are in place na since the inception no sa ato ang effort to curb this health crisis, no. So these mechanisms are in place na, so the monitoring, the reporting are being conducted, no, and the close coordination with the MLGOs and CLGOs are being strengthened, intensified sa atong grassroots level. So because these barangays are the we call them the frontliners, no, the first line of defense sa ato ang fight against this pandemic. So that's the role of our MLGOs, not to monitor these barangays.
I always have this question, mga Attorney Bings pa. This could mean like power to the barangays, no, but some I also hear some mga barangay officials may nganong kami mangyod nganong ari man idanok namo kami kontrahan di na may elect, you know. And pero unsa man atong legal basis why we are giving this big responsibility to the barangays, to the barangay captains ba?
Under
Nganong sila
gid na siya
gyud?
sa ang role sa punong barangay is under gid na siya sa local government
Yes.
code
Yes,
ug ang iyang importance gibutang pud na sa constitution nga unsa man ka bugat gyud, unsa ka importante pod ang barangay sa ato ang komunidad kay sila magud ikaw kung i-compare nato siya sa municipality, gamay ra ang area nga maadtuan sa mayor. Dili pareha sa barangay, sa punong barangay nga kanang kung kuan ka kay 24/7 kadinha ka ikay dali maduulan sa imong mga constituents. So ang barangay makaingon ko nga nganong kami may i-blame sa tanang mga panghitabo because ang kuan man gud ang barangay murag ikaw di gud mura ikaw ang amahan sa imuhang barangay. Dapat nakahibalo ka kung unsa ang mga lakad, unsay mga nangahitabo, kung naabanay nagsigi ba na silang panggawas dinha or kana nagparty-party ba na din. Ikaw gud lain kaayo nga ikaw na barangay kapitan ka unya di ka makahibalo sa panghitabo sa imong barangay.
Imong balay.
Oh, kanang balay ka, ikaw ang papa dinha, makahibalo gyud ka niya. Kami as DILG ga-supervise me, ga-guide me sa ilaha para ma-fulfill nila ilahang mga duties. Ikuan nato nga ay mga kanang LGUs marag ilaharang own strategies nga ang barangay di ba naman tay EOC, Emergency Operations Center. Naapoy ang barangay, naapoy focal person dito nga adto na lang dalion nila makuha ang mga data nga kinahanglanon nato para mahibaw-an nganong nagkasaka man ni ang cases kay i-analyze man gud na sa
Mandated
EOC.
sila ana, appeal na sa ilahang.
Appeal gud na sila nga kanang nagkasaka ang cases kay ang mga nurses pud sa municipality dili man nila tagsa-tagsa ma-monitor ang mga naa sa isolation centers, na kay mobitaw nga naay barangay isolation centers or units para sila sa ilang level maka-monitor gud sila.
There was a threat from the president ba nga if the barangays will not do their job or kanang mag-ana ba na there's like it was I felt it was like a huge punishment mo na impression ako na what is it exactly?
Ang pagkakaan gud na ko ani is that para lang mapugos sila nga yung inana kabugat ang inyong duties, so dili mo dapat maglax kay at this time sa pandemic kamo gyud ang maguna as Mike said, frontliners gyud mo, first line of defense. If ikaw lang na ay panghitabo nga wala ka kahibaw, it means a lot gyud nga wala ka unsay kay parehas sa panghitabo, grabe ka-infectious ang COVID-19.
Right.
If dili ka kaibalo, usara ka party, it can spread. Dili ra biya 1:1 ang pag-spread niya.
It's family per family per
yes.
and all
1:10.
Yes.
You were talking about the barangays have this special power, no, and they also have isolation centers. Unsa may funding nga inyong gihatag nila? Naba na sila like to hire
So, pagtukod.
pagbuhat sa mga tao, pagbuhat sa mga health centers, etc. Yung kanang mga isolation centers. I'm sure that it's not just their own people, but they have to look for people also nga mutabang nila. And then there will also be logistics involved. So, was there any funding at all nga gihatag sa mga barangays and extra funding?
Yes, we believe that this is an unprecedented pandemic, no? So
Yes.
nobody was really prepared, no,
Yes.
enough to confront this pandemic. So it's this shows, no, ang preparedness atong barangay, because the moment nga natin mga directives nila, they were able to perform man pod. So we saw their resourcefulness, like for the example of establishment of isolation centers. Since wala man gigamit ang mga kuno na may mga facilities sila nga bakante, so they converted them as isolation facilities, especially for those returning residents. So we call them before as locally stranded individuals.
LSIs.
So these katong mga suspects, so mga LSIs nga naabot sa ilang mga OFWs nga naabot. So since wala pa man sila ang gihimo sa uban sa barangay, since wala pa man sila yung mga funding no, kay it calls for establishment of construction, but their resourcefulness enable them to look for ways, like for example mga eskwelahan nagi-convert nila mga unused nga mga centers nga gihimo nila nga isolation facilities. So in that way no, nakita gyud nato ang pagpaningkamot sa mga barangay to heed to the call no sa ato ang president og to perform their duties. So wala may funding po, but
Huwag kwarta.
wala may funding, but
just a thought.
they have the resources man pod nga to look
Kinsa mo pakaon anang i-isolate? I mean, you know, that's a real thing. That's a practical question. If they isolate me,
funding.
for example, who will feed me? And
Government or LGU, I
where does the money come from? What food will you give me? I mean, you know, what medication will I have?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Sige,
Ang sa barangay Manggod is tungod kay unprecedented na atay mga pwede mag-realign og funds. So, kanang DRRM funds, na ay DRRM funds ang barangay,
That's
ang
disaster
municipality,
funds?
yes.
Oh, okay.
It is 20% man na siya. They are, ang DBM nag-issue nga pwede na nila i-realign to curb ang kanang ma-address ang issue of funding sa COVID. Then,
Apil
ang
na ng pagkaon.
Yes, apil na ang pagkaon. If for example, na ay mag-positive o niya naa sa municipal nga isolation center, ang municipality in the aid sa kanang barangay, sila ang maghatag og food sa kanang mga na-isolated to. Then, ang municipality, kay naamang mo siya DRRM, iya po nang gibahin-bahin para pod matagaan pod og funding ang iyahang kanang
Barangay.
to augment
Augment
ang
the
panginhanglan sa barangay nga level. Kay kami, igo rami mo issue sa guidelines, kay naa na mong funds ang barangay daan. Ang unsaon lang siya pag-realign, kay specific ba ya ang tanang funds nga
Right.
igasto
Yes.
nimo ani diri nga specific item. So,
exactly.
then COVID-19 has happened.
Oo.
So, muna nga ang DBM nag-instruct sila nga local government units through sa DILG nga mag-inform nga pwede mo mag-realign ani nga mga funds. Tudloan mo na muna nga mga field officers, mga MLGOs, LGOs, mo tabang sila para makahibaw ang mga barangays unsaon paggamit ang ilahang funds.
Just a thought, because we're talking about this being an unprecedented event. Would it be safe to say, nauna lang ko ba, nga the performing barangays even before COVID, sort of ready gid sad sila nga mohimo aning mga responsibilities, COVID-related responsibilities. But if kato siguro wala kaayo kaayo nag-perform
Makalitan.
before, nakalitan gyud. Siguro would it be safe to say siguro, attorney na?
Oh, pero muna nga ang among mga field officers didto pagaydan gyud sila kay daghan gyud kaayo manawag nga mga barangays na sa ilahang mga MLGOs nga unsaon ni namo nga nahurot na wala na may funds diri mga emergency amo ang mga, like for example ang mga tawo namo sa BHERT unsa man ang mga allowances ani nila 24/7 gatrabaho kay tungod kag katong pag-search pagtag-as gyud kaayo. So moto ni ana sila nga ceremony ang gamiton ninyo sa mga funds makaya ra na ma-justify ra pud ni nato kay this is a pandemic. Ang atong mga ang uban magud mahadlok ang mga barangay mo gasto sa kwarta nga kay DRRM ra man gyud ni, pero ang pandemic is part siya sa DRRM.
The response.
Effort.
And we also asked Cap Franklyn kaganina if what are the penalties for violators or nanabatoy nakihang kay ni violate nga barangay captain o barangay official.
Okay, we will discuss
okay.
that later. Okay,
Kay murag ko, ana.
Magtaas na nga diskusyon. Ay, mo balik kita aman lamang niini. Okay, balik ta no kay kuyaw na kay itong ipangutanan Jessica nga murag kuanda nga murag
Kulba.
punishment gyud ba. Anyway, before that, si Michael had something to say about kanang support funds. Kay ang pondo mo may is one of the most important things in this in this struggle and in this fight against COVID, no? So exactly moora gyud na kwarta nga makakuha sila gikan sa ilang disaster fund.
Actually, we have also no mga existing programs po karon nga gi-implement. It's part of the emergency response po nato no sa pagtabang nato sa mga LGUs because DILG po no course through some funds sa atong mga LGUs no to help them to aid them to augment their existing resources no kay it's a matter of interoperability sa atong mga agencies no. So some agencies are helping out the barangays because we know that the funds of the LGUs are so limited compared to the number of their constituents. So we don't nobody is left out ng effort. No? So we have agencies man po, national agencies, we have kana mga frontline agencies no who are really which are willing to help po sa atong mga LGUs, especially the barangay no. Like sa example po nato atong sa SAP. So it's not a barangay yun nga fund. It's from the SWD. So it's a matter it's one way of helping po the barangays to help them address and to minimize or to at least lessen the impact brought about by the pandemic. So dili lang barangay ang gisaligyan sa tanang resources, we have also the national agencies who are also helping them.
But ang ako ba, the national agency, if we have to ask money from the national government, it is a very long process. Musuwat ka, you have to justify, etc. So doesn't that, prolong the agony, of the barangay in a sense? Or na streamline na ninyo ang mga processes because of what
wala
has
na
happened.
bureaucracy.
I mean red tape at
Red
least.
tape.
Yes. As we remember no katong pag-implement pa lang aning mga assistance sa atong mga barangays no we had a directive from the president to really if possible to legally cut the process in a sense to shorten but in a legal way. So to shorten the process, that's why we were able to shell out funds immediately no to respond to this panginahalan sa mga tao no like itong sa times sa DSWD o kani mga sa DOLE in terms of katong workers nga displaced. So
Yes,
we really had those kung ano naman deadline gihatag ni si president at the time no to really fast track the distribution of aid sa atong mga naapektahan.
Do you deal also with kanang political bickerings within the barangay bakay naamang political bickerings in certain barangays? I don't mo mention whatever, but there are certain barangays ang murag init ang politika nga naay usa nga kontra ang barangay captain o ang first councilor. Unya ang mo distribute sa kanang senior citizens fund mo ni ang mo distribute sa SAP mao ni ang mohatag og ayuda mao ni kana and
Tapos usahay attorney nga dili kaalyado sa kapitan mao nang wa tagai og SAP na mangin ana nga mga issues.
And I think that's that's really kana bitong it's a reality.
Reality.
Yes.
So do you deal with that?
We cannot discount that possibility though because it may
Do not discount it. It's real.
because it's a reality.
It's happening.
It's happening, yes. That's why.
Sa tinuod na nakaingon jud ko nga may pakadiha dance may pakadiha dance kay katulo na ka nga trash ako wa pag in town. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yes. I understand, but that's why we had those mechanisms in place, no, like for the feedbacking system, no, and we received reports. That's why we had this directive from the national office to really monitor this implementation of these programs because we dili unta maabot nga masudlag politika, so that's why naatay mga na monitor sa una nga. In fact gipangkasuhan nga ni karon attorney no si attorney ang focal yes nga which involve politics no. So yes, that's happening tinuod yun. And we have this mga monitoring strategies or mga monitoring system no among put in place in order to prevent na further no. So that's why we had these cases filed sa atong mga reported allegedly mga naghimo og mga dili makatarunganon amid this pandemic.
So mo na to imong question dyan.
sige.
So attorney, unsa man gyud if these things happen bakit even what you said, you know, di ba? Even if what you said nga kana bitaw na politika, but this also still has something to do with their tasks as kanang, you know, as birth. Sana?
Be heard.
Be heard. You know, di ba, in a sense ba kanang it also has something to do with their task of alleviating and easing the burden of the COVID. So, what are the punishments and what are the kanang mga they get liable unsa man jud na. I mean, can you give us at least discuss a case bisag wala lang mga names, no?
Unsay punishment?
What kind of cases were filed?
Ang mag-disclaimer ko dan, ang sa regional office dili mi gyud mag-file og kaso. So ang inyong na matikdan sa regional office is ma-issue ra mig show cause order.
Okay.
Ang kanang show cause order kay kinahanglan man gud na namo i-verify ang mga panghitabo. So show cause order tigaan pod namo og time ang katong mga subject nga local officials to explain themselves ngano ni siya. Nganong kanang naay panghitabo naay picture ani nga nahitabo nganong wala mo ka monitor. So pa-explain na namo sila with kanang ang among show cause order with the kanang basis na legal basis na nganong liable mo ani being the local chief executive. Ang atong giigo gid ani is ang mga IETF guidelines being national siya nga directive, dapat mo follow gud sila in relation pod sa local government unit as a local government code nga unsay role sa usa ka punong barangay. So ang once maka-receive nami og explain kay show cause order basta makita mo maka-explain sila, maghimo mi og summary recommendation sa base sa facts nga among nakuha padulong dito sa central office or amo siyang for further investigation sa other government agency.
So ang mo file og case is the national
Ang
office.
central office
Central
being
office.
si SILG Anyo is the of the president, ang iyahang alter ego.
Alter ego.
So muna siya dili
Okay.
gud mi diretso diri. Ang diretso ang mukha na is ang tanan namong madawat verification na ay recommendation tan-awon as ito sa taas kung naa pa ba needed pa ba og further information.
Kay, di ba? I'm just concerned. Kay, pero bitaw ko na, akong feeling, because you're saying that it's just a show cause order. And then afterwards he will explain. And all of that. But in reality, nothing really happens. I mean, so, para ke? You understand?
For what?
Oh, di ba? Di ba? Nga, ug mao naman lang gyapon ni, ug mo na mahitabo nga. Like for example, ako I feel really aggrieved and I filed a complaint with their office. But in reality, show cause order, but larin.
The complaint if directly kanang aside ang katong show cause order namo is based man na sa kanang mga violations sa community quarantines. If na ay complaint verified, i-submit na mo kay mo wala mi legal personality, i-add to sa taas to file it sa ombudsman, tapos si ombudsman na ang mo issue og preventive suspension.
So actually, we don't even have to go to you in order to file a complaint.
Yes, pwede diretso sa ombudsman, pero naa may level sa president, di ba? Pwede man ka mo adto sa ombudsman, pwede pud ka mo adto sa president, kay si president being the head sa naa siya supervisory power over sa kaning mga local government officials. Kung threefold man na atong liability, ang sa atong liability diri sa administrative marama na nga side, lahi pud to sa ombudsman, kaya ang sa ombudsman ang ang threefold liability naman dito siya.
But it could be nga ang inyong recommendation dili ma-follow sa taas or
Okay,
recommendation
on
naman,
further-
no? Of course,
Sa-
recommendation.
Further assessment the central office will make further investigation and assessment on the situation depending on the facts surrounding siguro sa mga from the fact finding.
But rest assured, dagi investigation.
Investigation mo nang i-refer na mo sa lain nga kanang naamang investigatory agency nga sila ang mo confirm after that. Once na kuan na to nila na ay makuha ang mga affidavits kay kinahanglan man nato og witnesses muna nga kanang naay probable cause na sila nga to file a case, i-file dayon nila
I-file
dito
din.
sa
So,
ombudsman.
in the ombudsman, it's either you have your criminal and your administrative.
Administrative,
yes.
Anyway, but you know, ang kana bitong 8888 nga kuan nga phone
Platform,
call to the president. I mean, you know, that apparently is really very effective.
Yes.
No? But what I kanang not directly experienced, but what I was told by somebody was that somebody takes your call, you can even do it anonymously, pero pwede sa kamuhatang sa imungan, and then the next step is the person ang head ana niya, for example, if it's a local government unit, ang imong secretary will be told, oh, you have a kuan that's airing mo on niya kuan.
Oh, ibalik ra pod.
Pa-explikahan. The fact lang that your head of office is made to explain apparently carries a lot of kuan back weight. Kay ang secretary biya, you know, ang nagpa-explain mo, and then your whole agency will know about it. No? Daghan man ang magamit ang 888?
Daghan gyud kaayo.
Effective siya, attorney, but sometimes maabusaran sad. Kaya even mga slightest, mga gamay kay nga
slightest.
complaints, nga walay mga basis, mubalik
Or
maghihapon sa
personal
imuha.
na nga,
personal.
personal na nila nga
I have
problems,
answered some of those.
Kuan na din, ang mahibalo man gid mo ang subject na uban nga dili klaro, pero kanang naamo gud na siya ang 888 dapat paspaso nimo kay ang problem, like for example kanang sa traffic sa una gyud na agid midaghang madawat nga traffic sa Konsolasyon, sa Liluan, kana pinaspasay na nimo kay nganong traffic na sila, so mo explain gud ang mga mayor niya ang katong mga kuan kay dili lang na sa 888 na ay mga news pud ana mo explain sila para niya ang katong mga nanawag makahibalo dayon sila kung unsa ang ilahang unsay giaksyonan ba ni mo nang naibugon nga kanang salamat kay kanang na settle na ni ang among problem diri kasi barangay ni kuan sila. So
kay ang ako ba unta nga instead of, it would have been nice nga instead of relying on media to report this, because basically when you go to media it's really a shaming effect man yun, ano nga kanang ana, but instead of going, and it also shows a lack of trust, so it should have been there should have been a system nga the government can answer immediately, and the people can trust that some steps will be taken. Oh. But unsa man inyo in DILG, you know, I know that you do the local governments, no, but what is your connect kumbaga with the people yun mismo, nga ang mga tao yun mismo? Do you feel what they feel? You know, do you
sa grassroots or
grassroots population, like the you know, Department of Interior and Local Government, you know, there has to be some kind of kanang connection ba sa what
To the
man inyo ana?
Yes, I would just want to focus na po sa tuang situation during the pandemic, when the people was really aggressive, no?
Yes, that's true.
Kinahanglan sila og something nga madali nila og tawag.
Yes.
And that's why with this taking cognizance of these concerns, DILG really establish, it's a mandatory good to establish this emergency operations center to really address right away atong mga complaints. So we made mga 24 hours kanang calls good sa mga tao, no? Wala mi nakadawat diri, so and we understand because that time, no, kinahanglan man gid ang mga tao og madali-dali og tawag, and that's why we put up
the EOC
sa region or sa Cebu?
Regional and field offices.
And field offices na ay mga numbers dito nga pwede ra sila maka-call on niya. Kasagaran namo, like for example katong mga problems on LSI, kung sir asa ka nga hotel ron nga wala pagikuha mo, diretso mi og tawag sa LGU or sa among provincial office para makamalihok din niya. Then mana din sila nga salamat kay nakuha na gid mi diri kanang
Napa na karon? Kay
Yes.
murag wala
Yes.
kayo siya.
Yes.
Wa ko kabaw.
sa among DLG7 nga page amo ginang pang flash ang kuan niya katong issue. Kasagaran namo katong grabe gid ang LSI nga mga stranded individuals nga wala pag na kuan ilahang mga travel
documents.
authorities ilang documents mo gid na kay daghan mi sukat kanang busy kayo ang mga phones namo kay tungod kay amo anas lang tubagon, then sa SAP related nga kami diri kaning na grabe ang nanghatag og pero daghan kayong tao asa na ang social distancing muna nga dali
Exactly.
mi makahibalo makapaadto dayon mi og mga pulis maadto dayon ang mga DILG officers sa ilahang
To check.
jurisdiction para ma-check og kung kuan gani nga i-postpone ang pagpanghatag ani kay musamot ka spread ang
O di ba
ang
magtunga-tunga
virus.
ta, okay.
Yes.
Mas daghang tao ang muhatag
Yes.
dito ka imo na po.
Yes.
So now you know nga there's a number to call.
Yes.
Asa man na makita na number?
We put up numbers no kay namatay kung taga Negros Oriental ka.
Asa man nila
naara dito.
makitaan,
So,
Sa
Mike?
visit na lang sa to ang DILG 7 page no.
Facebook
Natay mga
page.
Action officers na nga bisa mo
Ah.
chat mo dito, replyan gid mo dali.
Okay.
So
sige.
that's a Facebook page.
Ah.
Yes.
So okay.
DILG Facebook
Na
page.
Facebook
Ah,
page
yes.
nga pwede ka mo chat sa imong mga problems na
DILG. So unsa man imo ibutang ana? Unsa man
No,
imo
it's
Facebook?
it's a
You
page
search.
lang. You search lang sa
Sa
search
Facebook.
tab, Facebook
DILG 7.
Yes. We posted po dito ang mga numbers kung gusto mo
Okay,
Yes.
that's good. Oo.
Okay, karon pa ko kadungog. Actually,
But okay, wala kay internet and all that. Does the barangay have posters? Do you have posters where they can nga makita nila all over?
Yes, ang mga field officers gi-inform sila nga ipa-disseminate ni nga numbers kung naay mga concern, pero kung wala gid sila mo to nga ang kasagaran namo sa FB page lang sila mga to niya mo-message dayon sila niya ang naaman po in charge sa mo ang FB nga mo answer niya kung dili siya katubag ang katong in charge ato nga program para mapadali na niya ang
okay.
pagkuan yun ang pag-disseminate mo na siya og 8888 siya nga diri lang sa amo
Localized 8888.
localized siya nga 8888.
So, Nawana, we're running out of time, no? And that was a really nice thing you said that will connect you to the people ba? Magpasalamat sa admin ninyo nga you came here all the way ba? And explain to us especially ang inyong connect with the people and especially that kanang it's a very difficult situation
Yes.
now, no? Dahil tinuod yung kaayo. So,
Global man sad, Attorney Bings.
oh, pero
Dili man yun.
hindi mo ko na makafeel ang global.
Taday na, so parang yun.
So mo na makikala na I hope na naasad mo yun na nakatunan whatever, no? Or at least you know where to go if you need kuan assistance. So there's the
Number.
LG Facebook page where you can go and they can and then 24 hours na mo tubag.
Hilig man kay tag-chatron, you can just
sa
chat.
chat na gyud na siya
Okay.
motubag then sa amo hinoong sa EOC namo karon nga reg na stabilize na siya from 8 to 5 ang phone and ang katong mga text.
Okay.
Dayon modawat pud mi og walk-ins kay during sad sa SAP daghan jud kaayo ang walk-ins ato nga time sa amo ang regional office nga kami moingon lang gyud mi nga mamo text lang mo kay layo ang regional office walay sakyanan naglakaw ra mo padulong diri mugid na among makuanan ko nga ma'am munang amon ko nga text lang mo na mo dili lagi ingon nga ma-taken for granted mo because wala mo maari sa regional office but kuan gyud mo nga ma-entertain gyud na ang tanan ninyo nga mga concerns.
Okay.
Okay.
So, daghang salamat kaayo sa inyong pag-ani, daghang salamat sa panghigala sa inyong pagtamod namo, no? Ako si Attorney Bingo Gonzales.
Attorney Jessica Banzonatad.